Unit 7, Period 7, Section 10 discusses the origins of the United States involvement in World War II. This could actually go all the way back to the ascension to power by a dictator in Germany known as Adolf Hitler. Adolf Hitler was a Nazi. A Nazi is a political ideology of one of extreme nationalism. Hitler and his fellow Nazis were very proud of the white race, and they believed that Germans, specifically white Germans, were superior to all other ethnic groups in the world. And beginning in 1933, under Adolf Hitler's leadership, Germany began to systematically take over all of Europe, beginning in the Rhineland between Germany and France, then on to Austria, then on to Czechoslovakia. Then a non-aggression pact was signed with Russia. Both countries, Russia and Germany, attacked Poland, Norway and Finland, the Netherlands and Belgium. Eventually, German forces drove through France and trapped both the French and British armies at a town called Dunkirk, in which the French and British armies barely escaped before being captured by the German armies. So needless to say, Europe was in serious situation prior to Americans entering the war. What were Americans doing while Hitler and Germany, Italy, and Japan were systematically taking over Europe and Asia? Congress passed the Neutrality Acts. The Neutrality Acts were a reminder to the American people that Congress believed that we would be best served if we stayed out of the conflict in Europe. In 1935, the United States was banned from providing weapons to nations that were at war. 1936, loans were banned. 1937, however, as the United States figured out the threat that Adolf Hitler was, Congress passes the cash carry provision of the Neutrality Acts. This demonstrates that the United States began to figure out that they may best be served by helping the Allies defeat the Axis powers. And we did this by telling our Allies friends that if they could use their own ships and carry the war products in their own ships and pay cash for those products, that we would be willing to help them. The reason why the United States used the cash carry provision is so that we would not repeat our reasons for going to World War I, which was unrestricted submarine warfare. Finally, as Hitler takes France, Roosevelt's able to encourage Congress to pass the Lend-Lease Act. And now the United States becomes more aggressive in its help toward the Allies. And although we're not at war and we're not sending troops to fight the war, we are sending everything from food to military supplies to the Allies to help them defeat Germany, Italy, and Japan. We're going to watch a short video on the Lend-Lease Act.
In 1940, Franklin Roosevelt was re-elected to a third term as president, the only American president ever to serve more than 2 terms. Roosevelt would not commit troops to the overseas battlefield, but he vowed to help the British in their life-or-death struggle against Hitler's regime.
I ask this Congress for authority and for funds sufficient to manufacture additional munitions and war supplies of many kinds to be turned over to those nations which are now in actual war with aggressor nations. Our most useful and immediate role is to act as an hospital for them as well as for ourselves.
With FDR's urging, Congress passed the Lend-Lease Plan, which allowed him to lend or lease arms and other supplies to any country whose defense was vital to the United States. Not all Americans were united in their support of the president, however. Charles Lindbergh, the first man to fly solo across the Atlantic in 1927, was a staunch opponent of America's involvement in the war.
We cannot allow the natural passions and prejudices of other peoples to lead our country to destruction.
Despite opposition from Lindbergh and others, the Lend-Lease Act was funded with $7 billion. By the time World War II was over, the bill would total $50 billion.
So, as you can see, the United States is beginning to get involved in the war, maybe not militarily, but definitely economically. One component of the Lend-Lease, probably the most important to our allies, was the exchange of destroyers for naval bases with the British. One of the things the British lacked was the ability to destroy German submarines, and we lent the British destroyers or ships capable of destroying submarines in exchange for leases on naval bases in the Pacific for the future. This concludes Unit 7, Period 7, Section 10, the origins of U.S. involvement in World War II.